Okay, we're going to quickly go over the process of the distance between skew lines, and a lot of the work's already been kind of laid out for us. But here would be two skew lines, right? And these are our forms of the lines at line 1 and line 2. Okay, and we know that when we're finding a distance, we're going to find the shortest distance. So it will be where the two lines are perpendicular to each other. Okay, we kind of have to partially figure out what that's going to be. And we have our formula here. It's going to be the magnitude of these 2 points that are closest in space. In order to find those, we have to find the dot product between the normal and our 2 points, and then divided by the magnitude of the normal. So in order to find the normal to these two lines, we're going to use their direction vectors. Okay, and I've already kind of gone through the process here. This is how we're going to find our n. So we've written out this style, and there's also the style where it's like a2 times a3 minus a3 times a2. I can't remember the whole thing, but this is essentially the same setup. This one we just use arrows, so we multiply these numbers and subtract these numbers. So 2 times 1 subtract negative 1 times 3. That will give us our I value. The j's, we take these values and subtract these values. In the k's, we take these values multiplied and subtract these values, which we've kind of gone through the process. And we found our normal. Our normal is 5, 5, negative 5. Okay. To find our line between point 1 and 2, we actually take point 2 and subtract point 1. And that's these two values here, our point 2 and our point 1. So I took point 2 and I've subtracted point 1, which is just right here. Point 2 is 0, or 2, 0, 1, minus 5, negative 4, negative 2. And we get this coordinate for our point 2, or direction vector for point 1, 2. Okay. So we now plug that into the formula they've given us. Okay, so here's the formula they've given us. And now this can actually be rewritten. Because we could write this as a scalar multiple, I could technically have written this as 1, 1, negative 1, okay, in this process. It doesn't matter, it's fine, we can write it this way. So we're going to find the dot product between the twos. This is our point 1, point 2 line, and this is our normal and our normal, which we went through the process of finding. Okay, so when we find the dot product between the two values, we're going to multiply them. So negative 3 times negative 5, that's going to give us negative 15, plus 4 times 5 is going to give us 20, plus 3 times negative 5 is actually going to give us negative 15, or subtract 15. Okay? And we need to find the magnitude of those two. Okay. The absolute value of that. And then the magnitude of this. When we find the magnitude of a specific coordinate, we find the square root of all of those terms squared and added together. Do you recall that from earlier chapter? Yeah. So we're going to find 5 squared plus 5 squared plus a negative 5 squared. And then we're going to square root all of that. Okay. So when we go through this, we're going to add these together. This should give us negative 10, I believe. And negative 10 as a magnitude is essentially the value of 10, okay? Because when we talk about magnitude, positive and negatives are more just directions rather than actual force in terms of this. On our bottom, we're going to have 25 plus 25 plus 25, so we're going to go root 75, okay? And then we can essentially divide these values to figure out what we're going to get. So this is the absolute value. You could also think of it as negative 10. So it's really going to be 10 over root 75 will be the distance between our skew lines. So let's find that out. 10 divide. Do I have a root? Root 75. 1.15. Okay. So approximately 1.15. Is our distance, and again, there's no unit value or anything. We could just say units between the shortest distance of the two skew lines. And again, there was a lot of stuff I didn't really go through, like how to find the cross product of the two direction vectors. I quickly showed you, this part's pretty straightforward, but we're just finding a point between point 1 and point 2 where you subtract point 2 from point 1, and then we did go through this process, going through the formula and find the magnitude of AB, AB being the shortest distance between the skew lines.